Continue with the good work at our esteemed mosque. Can I again appeal to you? I know we are excited, we haven't seen one another for many a year. Dan kan ik daar door Slamse school die gaat in diezelfde kamer. Ik moet natuurlijk niet laat weer in daar. Ismail, we're going to depend on you to control the crowd that side. Okay. Yes, I think Ishaq, shukran for that advice. If you're going to talk, we're going to keep you here on detention. And detention will mean whole night tahajjud after Fajr. Sheikh Farida, can you not sell a book now? Thank you, shukran. First of all, we'd like to greet you in the universal greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And a warm and hearty welcome to all of you. This is really a tremendous opportunity, an occasion, and it's not only the launch of a book, but it is also an opportunity to heal, to meet friends, family that we have not seen for over 50 or 60 years. It's a homecoming, and especially during this month of heritage, we would like you to, we're going to fraternize and socialize afterwards. I was going to say dance, but not that today. Welcome, Tajuddin Aglika. Welcome, sir. So we like to acknowledge, first of all, our shuyukh who is present today. We have Sheikh Dr. Ridwan Rylands. We have Sheikh Dr. Noor Davids. We have Professor Najma Musa. We have Dr. Iso. And we have any other doctors that are here, or professors, welcome. Well, we're only taking the list of the RSVP, so if you are here, you did not RSVP, if you're not reading out your name. Then also our elders. We have my beloved uncle here, Sheikh Umar Najjar, he's going to be 93 on the 10th of October. May Allah continue to guide and bless him with good health. We have also one of the oldest living Kanamias, Ismail Kudud. May Allah continue to bless you with good health, inshallah, and shukran for gracing our occasion with your presence. We have people in various fields of professional life. We have educationists here. We have like the retired, probably the oldest principal still alive, Mr. Arnold, who was at Belgravia High. He's also now in his 80s. He's looking very, very young still. We have well retired from the Kanamia community, Imtiaz Adams. Welcome to you also, Imtiaz. We have Mr. Chotia, also RSVP. That will be easier yet. But welcome to all those in education. Then we also, our host today is this young man sitting in front here by the name of Fuad Majid. Can we give him a welcome? He's the cause of us being here today, and alhamdulillah, you know, he started with this book of his over 11 years ago, doing research, archival research. Please, if you have any idea as to the amount of hours and work that goes into archival research, and we also have probably one of the forerunners of this kind of research into family history and community history, we would like to welcome Mr. Roda from the Strand. Now here, welcome Mr. Roda for your pioneering work. And he is married to a family member of mine. All of us who grew up in District 6 will know her. Her name is Amina Arnold. Remember, she stayed at number in Mill Street, and she grew up there. With Rashida Ibrahim. She was one of the first nurses who qualified. And those of us who had the privilege or the guts to get up for Fajr and come to the mosque, there wasn't many, would probably have seen her walking and going to the bus stop with Rashida. Okay? So that was in the middle 60s. So welcome Amina and Mr. Roda. We also would like to welcome, and on behalf of the Mosque Committee, our chairperson, Yunus. Where's Yunus? Oh, there's Yunus. Yunus, you want to say a welcome? No, shukran. Yunus is used to ushering people. You know, his profession was, you know, we all know him. So he did a good job with that. Shukran, Yunus. And well done to the good work that you and your committee is doing in order to sustain and uphold the mosque. Okay, so Yunus, welcome. Now we look about 3 weeks ago, we had this launch committee that got together at Mr. Majid's place 3 weeks ago. And we had one female with Isi Umar, Jamil, Riyaz Ismail, Hussein, Muhammad, Khanif Kamadin, Yunus Ismail. One female. That's Vasta, she's a Vasta. Nou, Vastas is baie vibrant mensen. And she put all of us on our places. She gave each one of us duties. And within 3 weeks, we could put this function together. We could also get the book out, and really, we must really thank ABC Printers and Razak Umar for a job well done. For 150 Rand for a hardcover book of that quality, you're not going to get it anywhere. So the printers, I don't know if Ashraf is here. By the way, the books were delivered today at 12 o'clock. So you must know, we aged in the last few days, but well done for doing it on time, because Najma was still doing some changes on Thursday night. So well done to the printers, and Ashraf, we welcome you also here. I do not want to mention any family names. Mr. Majid, I leave that to him, because I might leave out certain families. So welcome to all of you, and especially those that attended Muir Street Primary School. I don't know if Mr. Beg is here. Mr. Beg with the Randarian Society. Oh, there's Mr. Beg. He was also the umpire of the team that I played for, Eagles. And you know, LBW did not play a part in that cricket game. So shukran for those. And one day somebody caught me on the boundary, inside the boundary. Mr. Beg went and pushed the boundary further in and said, no, it was not out. So Mr. Beg, shukran for letting me score my maiden at only 50. The Randarian Society, Mr. Beg is one of the last surviving members, they had the foresight, like the founding fathers of this wonderful institution, had the foresight to buy property that they converted into a school. And most of us had the privilege of attending where you are sitting now. We got the rudiments of our tertiary education as well as our Islamic education in this very hall. So, you know, all thanks to our founding fathers, to Mr. Beg and the Randarian Society as well. But I think Randarian Society, you know, still owe some rental from the school. So you can, Mr. Beg is the last one surviving, so you better get hold of him quickly. So shukran for the Muir Street Primary School students who are here, who Mr. Majid taught. And you know, just as an aside, you know, those were traumatic times at that Muir Street Primary School. They taught you how to make wudu at the school with a cane. And if any class just made a little bit of noise, they would cane the whole school. And Mr. Majid, being the youngest, you know, he would be right in front, and also with an evil smile and smirk on his face as the lashes came down. But he did not make any criminals of us. And today they're complaining about discipline. So Mr. Majid, shukran for all those hidings as well. Apology from Sheikh Murad. Muhammad Murad, he sent an apology to say he's due to unforeseen circumstances, he could not be here, but he wishes us well with the function. Then there is a letter also of support. You know, with especially technology these days, the message gets universal very, very quickly. And the letter was sent by the VV UK office, Unity House, Office 5, first floor, Fletcher Street, that's in Bolton. Honorary Mr. Fuad Majid and honorary team members, Cape Town, South Africa. Date Tuesday, the 13th of September 2022. Dear Honorary Mr. Fuad Majid, Honorary Professor Najma, honorary community members, honorary team members, celebrating Heritage and Origin Project. This is a letter of support from, also, they are a Kanamia group in the UK. Okay, so we acknowledge that letter, and we will also send a letter in return to them. I don't know, Najma, if I covered everything. I mean, you sure?
Yes, you're just going over time.
Okay, I'm going over time. So I've got the prerogative as the only one to keep time. Okay, so the one thing is, please, program organizer and not MC. Because on a recent visit to Zambia, you know, MC is actually there, master of circumcision, and I don't know anything about that part. We leave that to Dr. Musa. So without further ado, I'm going to ask, first of all, our honorary Sheikh Ismail Kiran of the neighboring mosque, Aspling Street, to open our function with the opening dua and a very short nasiha on heritage. Can we welcome Sheikh to the podium?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وصحبه وبارك وسلم أما بعد جماعة المسلمين honored guests Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First and foremost, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for just being here today for our health and our strength. And may this auspicious occasion be one of tremendous success, inshaAllah. I would also like to extend my gratitude and thanks to Riyadh Najjar and the committee and all members of the Zeenatul Islam Masjid for inviting me and to make the opening dua, inshallah, and say a few words. Shukran to you all. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Sayyidina wa nabiyana wa mawlana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا الجمع مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعد فرق مقسوما وفقنا للخيرات واهدنا الى الصراط المستقيم وفقنا لما فيه سعد الدارين برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا كريم يا جواد يا رب العالمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Brothers and sisters, on the guests, I've been given 5 minutes to say something about Islamic heritage. And it's a tall order, it's a vast subject, but I'm going to try and do it in 5 minutes, so please forgive me for any shortcomings. And here we go, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As Muslims, our heritage was laid down by none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and explained to us in practical terms by Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. At the end, or almost at the end of the Madini period of the revelation of the Quran, in the 10th year of the Hijrah, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we all know, embarked upon the Hajjatul Wida. And although the ayah pertaining to Hajj was revealed in the 6th year of the Hijrah, the practical application of that ayah was only enacted in the 10th year. After 4 years, meaning that the societal template for any society to develop and power itself to success in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was then laid down firmly in Medina. And the conference of the Ummah was then told by way of wahi on Arafah, which means to know, to realize that wherever we get to know ourselves and where we find ourselves in this dunya, from there onwards, up till now and into the future, that our heritage, meaning the legacy we leave behind and the legacy we build on into the future, must be constructed on 3 things. On Qudra, power, on Rahmah, mercy, and on Adl, justice. And that was encapsulated in the ayah that was revealed on Arafah that day. Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. Today, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has completed this miracle deen that no other human being, or all the Einsteins and all the Ibn Rushd and Ibn Sina's put all their brains together, would never ever have thought out such a miraculous path. That's the Qudra. وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has completed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's favors. That's the Rahmah. وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. And I've chosen for humanity as a path, as a sirat, the deen of Islam. Because by following that path, you will always deal in justice. And that forms our heritage from that moment onwards, officially sanctioned by divine revelation. And so, wherever there are Muslims in this dunya, in whichever diverse culture and whatever, the core formula, the DNA of their heritage is based on being fair, justice, on being merciful, and using the resources in whichever form in terms of their power to use it in a way of mercifulness, not tyrannical, and in a form of justice. A quantum leap 14 centuries later, in the 21st century which we find ourselves, we understand and we know that we as a community in this part of the dunya, and specifically Cape Town, and specifically this area, District 6, how they have tried to make us believe in a system or a socio-economic political system of lies that was tried to be enforced upon us, foisted upon us. But in this very area, this masjid being part of it, the heritage of us dealing in this area, growing up in this area, was we looked inwards and we dealt with each other for survival. On the manner of, we used whatever resources we had with the power, we used it in the manner of mercifulness towards each other, in the manner of justice. Therefore, life in District 6, our heritage, and the core of that heritage, the Quran and the Sunnah, it took me very long to realize this. But the realization came that life in District 6, that cohesiveness, our heritage, because we based our life on sharing, rahmah, mercifulness, and justice, the streets of District 6, our physical heritage, became the passages, and the houses became the rooms. Such a cohesive community was built on the manner of those three cornerstones of that ayah: justice, mercifulness. That's how you deal with the resources of the power. And that is how we survived. A social-political economy of lies, which is still trying to be foisted upon us today. And therefore, today we see people like Kanamia Masjid documenting some of the history of this masjid and also of District 6. And I would personally say to Kanamia Masjid, shukran, not only for the book, but shukran because this book I consider to be a passport to all the people sitting here, to all our children, to start documenting, to start telling the stories, and to make it so important that our heritage, because we're not always going to stay here, we're going to move across the world, our children's children and so forth. But let us never forget that our heritage is based on knowledge, which is the highest form of power, the Iqra, and that knowledge must be enacted in the manner of rahmah and justice. Because if we're not going to say that to our children, if we're not going to build on our heritage, then of course I quote Alvin Toffler, who said that illiteracy in the 21st century is not going to be people who cannot read or write. Illiteracy in the 21st century is going to be people who refuse to learn, who refuse to unlearn, and refuse to relearn. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant that the launching of this book must be the passport for our legacy to be built upon, so that we can leave something of value to our children that they can build upon also. Shukran. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Shukran for those kind and wise words and for those lessons, Sheikh. Now we're going to introduce the next speaker, Ms. Najma Vasta. She's a specialist in Muslim personal law or Muslim family law. She's also the senior professor in the Faculty of Law at the University of the Western Cape. Has a career in academia spanning more than 30 years. She became the first black head of department or professor, dean, the first woman dean of a South African law faculty, and senior professor in the faculty. She has 4 law degrees. So, you know, it's going to be tough trying to get past her. It's a privilege. It's really a privilege for me to have spent the past couple of weeks in meetings with Najma, and she will now speak on the book and also the challenges that Mr. Majid had. Can we welcome Najma to the podium?
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you everybody. Riyadh Najah has indicated to you that I've been ordering them around, but actually the truth is that they've been ordering me around. So I was forced to speak here today. But I do it with pleasure. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And thank you very much. I've got a bit of my voice is going away, so I'm not going to be so articulate, but forgive me for that. So thank you very much for making the time today. I'm so happy to see this hall so full. It really, you know, it pleases me so much to see this. So thank you for making the time today to attend the launch of this very first book of its kind on the heritage and origins of this 100-year-old masjid. The book's author, Mr. Muhammad Fuad Majid, is no stranger to most of you in the audience. Today, he can be extremely proud to witness the launch of his book in the presence of family, of friends, and former pupils. So Uncle Fuad is 83 years old, but young at heart with an encyclopedic memory when it comes to the history of the Zeenatul Islam Mosque, or the Muir Street Mosque, as this mosque is also known. As Riyadh Najah has indicated, it took him just over 10 years to write and research his book, which he based on personal experience, oral history, and archival resources. Because of his perseverance and efforts, and the courage and encouragement of his lovely wife, Auntie Atika, we are finally able to read about the rich history of this mosque and its pioneering forefathers. So please join me in giving a hearty round of applause to Uncle Fuad. His wife as well, Nahid, his daughter, and his son Yusuf. So my task this afternoon is to do 3 things. To briefly explain to you what his book is about, to formally introduce Uncle Fuad, and to tell you a bit about my connection with him. So in his book, Uncle Fuad does 2 main things. Firstly, he records in detail the until now untold history of the building of this Hanafi Masjid. The Muir Street Mosque was constructed for the first time in 1920. It was then rebuilt in 1938, when it became one of the largest mosques in Cape Town. In 2010, it underwent further construction, renovation, and this 100-year-old mosque and Waqf property is therefore old enough to be accorded heritage status. So secondly, he writes about the pioneers who both conceived and constructed this mosque and its madrasa, which, as you've been told, was located in this very hall in which you are sitting today. These pioneers had arrived as young immigrants. Some were just teenagers from the province of Gujarat in India more than 100 years ago. Their villages were located in the district of Bharuch. I was asking for a map to be on. I'm not sure if there's a map now. And some of the villages go by the names of Nabipur, Manupur, Valu, Sitpan, etc. Collectively, these immigrants from these villages were referred to as Kanamias. The word Kanam refers to the fertile black soil of their cotton farmlands. Immigrants from the Bharuch district also landed up in other parts of Africa, in the USA, the UK, Canada, etc. Collectively, Bharuchis are internationally known as the Vahora Patel community, and that was the letter of support that was given from one of the branches. So that was the letter that Riyadh was referring to. So well-known public figures and community activists in South Africa's, community stalwarts in South Africa's recent political history are the children and the grandchildren of this pioneer community. These include the first Democratic Minister of Justice, Tala Omar, the High Court Judge Essa Musa, Sheikh Nazim Mohammed, who was the president of the MJC, the Muslim Judicial Council, and activist Anwar Nagia. Ambassador Ibrahim Rasool's grandfather, fondly known as Chacha Rasool, also lived within this community. So our forefathers planted this tree, this mosque, so that generations of people after them could enjoy its shade. However, let us not make the mistake to think that women played no role in this mosque. In fact, without the foresight and courage of women, this mosque would not have seen the light of day. Why do I say that? Uncle Fuad mentions 2 facts in his book in support of this. The mothers of these forefathers, despite themselves experiencing severe drought and poverty in India, made great personal sacrifices when they sold their gold jewelry so that their young sons, teenage sons, could pay for their passage, for their journey by sea to come to South Africa to seek a better life. Years later in South Africa, it was the lady cooks who cooked for most of the Kanamia weddings, who donated envelopes that they received containing cash monies for the services directly to this mosque for its upkeep. So it was just natural that in 1965, during the time that he was Imam of this mosque, that Sheikh Abu Bakr Najjar, the father of our MC Riyadh Najjar, had the foresight to convert what was then a peanut storeroom into a salahana for ladies, which many of us have frequented for Taraweeh and other prayers, for example. So coming to Uncle Fuad. Uncle Fuad lived in Chapel Street, a short distance from this mosque, and he grew up in the area in the presence of some of the original founding fathers. He matriculated from Trafalgar High School in 1958. He scored excellent results and was accepted to study medicine at UCT. Unfortunately, financial constraints meant it did not allow him to pursue that career. He became a teacher and taught at Mio Street Muslim Primary School and later at Surrey Primary School, and retired as a principal. As a school teacher, his students respectfully referred to him as Meneer. Many of you are in the audience today. Can some of you put up your hands so that we can see? So Meneer, there are your former pupils. With the publication of this book, his dream to document the early history of this mosque has been realized. Now, it was about 2 years ago, in 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, while I was investigating my own family genealogy, that I first made contact with Uncle Fuad. Earlier this year, he mentioned to me that his book was not published as yet. So I then offered to help him, which he accepted. My role was merely editorial. The content is entirely his own work. He will tell you that the book is not a genealogy of all families who arrived, but is a personal account of those who played a key role in the establishment of the mosque according to his archival research and first-hand knowledge. So now for the moment that many of you have been waiting for, Uncle Fuad will for the next 20 minutes tell you more about why he wrote the book, regale you with some stories, and show you some interesting photographs. So keep an eye on this. There's the picture of the Baruch district where the Mahora community came from, and you will see the soil was fertile because there's a river and there's also the Arab Sea next to it. So that also explained the fertility of that soil. So there may be time for 1 or 2 questions, but we are having load shedding at 4 o'clock, right? So you will have ample opportunity to chat to him during tea time, when refreshments will also be served. And those of you who have not yet purchased the book will then also be on sale thereafter. So thank you very much.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard a lot, and I think I will speak until the lights go out. And I will be brief. I've prepared some notes, and I hope to complete it. And I've got my old first book of this, with a lot of notes in here. And I will refer to it if needs be. However, Professor told me, you stick to your notes. It's okay, I will try to stick to my notes. And I'll try to do that, because she's very meticulous when it comes to time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's so pleasant to see such a huge gathering of friends, families, former pupils, and well-wishers here this afternoon. Thank you all for your presence, and thank you for supporting the launch. Thanks to my wife Atika, I will always treasure your support, encouragement, and motivation throughout this long, long journey. It is really overwhelming to see many well-known faces in the audience. Oh, and they're smiling at me. Thank you, Wasila. And also, the Umar family, they've been a support, one good support. The Esops, the Adams, the Valleys, they are all here to support this launch. However, thank you for the Umar family that came out in full force here. And also in particular to Uncle Ibrahim's sisters who are here today. Two important cogs in the wheel who are no longer with us are my late son Rashid and Uncle Ibrahim Umar. They were the pillars of strength to me. May Almighty Allah grant both of them a heavenly abode, inshallah. More about them a little later. I'm really excited about this launch. So today is really about what motivated me to write this book titled The Untold History of the Kanamia Masjid and the Pioneer Founding Fathers. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, my late son Rashid, who assisted me in so many ways, coined the title of this book. Alhamdulillah. Now, before I come to the why, let me just explain to you, right here where I am standing today, this was the desk where the late Imam Ahmad Talabuddin sat and taught us our rudimentary lessons about Islam. This is where he sat in his chair with 20 children around that desk, and you make a mistake. You just make a mistake and then you will see what happens. So I start here because as a laity of 6 years, I started here at the school and I lived at 50 Chapel Street. This entrance here is Johnson Street. We lived in the next corner where the peg of the mosque is on the eastern boundary. That is where we lived. And from the age of 5, I accompanied my late grandfather, Khatib Salahuddin Ibn Adam, to this mosque as a little boy. However, Imam Sadat was here, and Imam Qazi Sahib was here, and so many others. Sheikh Abadi was here, Sheikh Najjar was here, they were all here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this madrasa hall here was one of the few of its kind. In 1938, Ahmad Piccadilly made a solemn oath at the opening of this masjid that he was going to see to the opening of this madrasa downstairs. He was seconded in this motion by Bagaz Ali. And lo and behold, in 1939 this mosque opened. And in 1940 they had their first open day ceremony here. Fortunately for me, I've got a book, the brochure, translated from Gujarati into English, and it explains what happened at this mosque and how they came together and how they formed this school here. I've got a copy. I think it will be flashed onto the screen here later. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a long journey. Since 1911, when I started with this, 2011, oh, I'm going way back. I think I made the same mistake yesterday also. Nevertheless, this long journey, I can assure you, it has been cloaked with mystique, mystery, apprehension, disappointment, despondency, and nostalgia. There were times during my research when the road was open and smooth, and then the sudden bends with all the potholes, which caused me to tread very cautiously because I was moving onto dangerous ground. I was on the brink of giving up. Yet, my wife told me, you carry on. Did you find anything today? No, try next time again. Now let me tell you what inspired me to write this book. After the demise of the late Sheikh Abu Bakr Najjar, I relocated to Ashbury Street Mosque, where I went to study religion for many years, not to become a lay preacher or a step above them, but just to improve my own religiosity. I returned one afternoon, it was a Jummah, a Friday, yes, when I returned from the Department of Colored Affairs in Rowland Street. We had a meeting there, and I rushed to get to the Jummah. On the way I realized I would never make it, and I popped in here in this mosque here. It was after an absence of about 10 years. After doing the preparations for prayers, I came in and I sat down on a bench next to the sound room. I hardly warmed the seat when a Musalli told me, "En wie het vir julle reg gegee om my plek te sit?" Oh my God, what's happening here now? And before I could respond, the chairman, Yunus, came along and said to me, "Ask, what's it?" I said, "Since when do you have reservations here of seats?" I said, "This man just told me." He said to me, "I said, just shh, shh, shh." And he took over and he told the man, "Listen here, this man came to this mosque before I came here. So he has the right to sit wherever he wants to." And ever since that day, I sat at the sound room next to Zaid there in the office upstairs there. And the interruption of COVID-19 terminated my attendance here at the mosque, where I stayed at home and listened on the radio and again migrated to Ashpley Street Mosque to do some work there. Ladies and gentlemen, now, when I got into this mosque, I looked around and I was awestruck by the opulent alterations, the ostentatious wall hangings. And I looked up and I thought to myself, gone is the old mihrab that was standing there with its beautiful marble plaque with the kalima standing on the pillars, fluted pillars. Gone was the beautiful handcrafted mimbar, marble mimbar with its 4 steps leading to the top and the seat. Gone was the green shroud that had covered the mimbar. And I looked up into the sky and said, oops, but this is still standing here, still hanging here. And that was the crystal chandelier that was imported by Umar Muhammad from Beaufort West at about, I don't know how many £100 he paid for it. And he also bought the clock for the clock tower. And I thought to myself, did ever anybody think about writing the history of this mosque? Who's going to tell the story about this mosque? Who's going to relate the beautiful history to their grandchildren and great-grandchildren? And I thought to myself, this is something. And then I left it. And I was sitting at the archives one day and I was paging through some research material. And then I saw a name. Whoops, and who shall that be? Adam Vasta. 1898, the first Kanamia to arrive here at the Cape Town docks. 1898. He stayed here 1899. 1900 he left because of the bubonic plague, and that caused many of those who came in 1900 to make a return journey back to the Borouge area. And that was an opening for others who were there who wanted to come to Cape Town, because in those days they only needed a form and they could use that form and pretend I am that particular person and come down. Later, the Boers didn't worry, but the British colonists came and they said, no, you must bring a photo along. You must be photographed. And then afterwards, more and more regulations were pushed to keep the people out. So that story had to be written. And since 1911, I started noting down the names of people. And I first thought to myself, 2011 again. Oh my God. You don't mind, I'm 83. I thought to myself, now, Ibrahim Ikeria, he died in 1968. and I think his age was 68. He lived in 18 Reform Street. I used to call him Papa. He was like a father to me. He told me many stories. He told me that he came here unaccompanied as a boy of 14 years old. I said, 14 years old? He said, yes, I came alone with another man. I said, who was that man? He was a Mr. Musa. Mr. Musa, yes. I went searching at the archives for that file for Musa Ibrahim. Do you think I could find it? I could never find it, because he came with a fake father, and so did others come with fake uncles and fake nephews, yes, with dubious immigration forms and papers, just for them to get a foot in the Cape, to earn a better living, to support their parents at home and families, because they were all poverty-stricken. Many of them came here as 16-year-old boys, some below that, like Ibrahim came here 14 years old. And they came to seek a living, a better living for their parents who were struggling in India. What happened there? The drought killed off their crops. The Sugams, the Hindu landowners, and the seed owners that sold, the seed merchants that sold the seed to them, they allowed these people to increase the debts. And when they couldn't pay the debts, they claimed the land. And they were poverty-stricken. And they came here to work. Believe you me, I read a report that, I'm going to name here, Adam's fruiterers, Esa. His children asked him, Dada, why have you got all these marks on your back? He said, from carrying baskets, walking fruit. That was the result of hard work. And it reminds me of Dooley's Opa, Iso, Muhammad Iso, who wasn't afraid to tell anybody that I used to walk at the Cape Town station with 2 baskets, and at night you can't even lift your arms because I had to sell and sell and sell. Ibrahim Umar told me how they formed a group in Muir Street, and I'm going off my script here, how they sold bananas in town, and boys spoke only Gujarati. They were taught by the others to say, Madam, I sell bananas. And the one madam said to the one boy, footsack. And he came back and he said, why does lady tell me footsack? They said, no, she said he must come back tomorrow again. And that is how they carried on. Life was very, very hard. Ladies and gentlemen, my research took me to a level where I can say that this book that I wrote about the people, the gentleman that came from Villen, all the villages, it was named by Professor also. I'm getting confused here with my notes here. Nevertheless, this is an undiluted, factual narrative about the founding fathers. Now, who were the founding fathers? They were the people whose names all appear on affidavits registered in the CSC records at the archives. So, when you go to the archives, and Mr. Rauder will tell me that if we're looking for a person, we first go to the criminal justice records or the slave records, and somewhere you're going to find some reference to that particular person that you're looking for. And we went through all that. And I was looking for information. Everybody told me, no, they bought these two houses here, 42 and 40 Chapel Street. Some gave me the wrong addresses because I lived at 50 Chapel Street. And I started researching. Then, as Allah wills it, along comes Ibrahim Omar. Archie, I heard that you're writing a book about the Kanamias. I said, yeah, trying to. But it's very difficult to find information. Because in the process of my interviews with known friends, I was insulted. I was told my fortune. What do you know about the Kanamias? Okay, brother, I grew up here. I know what happened here. I even learned a little bit of the language also. Tuli taught me also back then. So, what I wrote about was factual information. And you will find in the book, the resolution of some of those pictures are not too good. But remember, those pictures are decades old. I got pictures from Sina, from her great-grandfather, out of albums that they had to go and search for. But I got it. And I spent hundreds of rands at home to try and get the resolution improved on these pictures and documents. But they failed. They told me if we do any further than this, we're going to spoil the documents. So we just decided we're going to put it as it is, like we say when we buy a cheese at so many hundreds of rands and it starts fading, then you keep it like that because the patini demonstrates the quality of the cheese. So I kept the patini as they are to demonstrate the quality of the book. I've written about people, men, yes. I was told that yesterday also. What should I'm about to end off, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see what I write here. It is my hope and wish that the generation of great-grandchildren and grandchildren would read this book and see the wisdom that their grandfathers had. Remember, your grandfather came and he was the son of your great-grandfather. So your grandfather was actually the capital of your great-grandfather. And you, the grandchildren, or the great-grandchildren, you are all the interest of the investment that was made by the grandfather. Money was sent to India, money was sent to build mosques, and Riyadh sent me a lovely clip about beautiful mosques and people building beautiful mosques and looking about poor people, not forgetting about the poor people. I can assure you, Riyadh, I have been witness and I've gone along. And the Khatib of Sheikh Najjar was my beloved friend, dearly beloved friend, Ibrahim Umar. He was the Khatib. How many funerals? He made the preparations where people like Umar, Esop, Ikeria, Adam Ismail, Adam Ibrahim, Umazi Ibrahim, Pakadeli, they supported the family. Some of them never even put out their people because they didn't pay the rent. They said, okay, pay next month, pay next month. That was the heart that they had. We had good people, very good people, sincere people amongst the Kanamias. Yeah, and I only hope that in view of the fact that the Kanamias have, and I'm talking from outside looking in, they have dissipated, they've moved away from one another. Let this book be the adhesive that will bring them back again. Because in days gone by, this hall was full of people. It came to weddings. If the overflow used to go into the garage here of Musa Esa opposite here, that was the overflow. It would go there. It was a union of people. And not forgetting the mothers, and I'm going over time. Remember when Dada used to go to the market, then Ma would look after business, and she would also cut the crops off the bananas and I'll pack those bananas to ripen for tomorrow. They worked very hard and they sacrificed very hard. And many a day as a teacher here, I would see the parents coming to school, the Natas would come to school, the Umars would come to school. And there's two sisters-in-laws, Umar's wife and Solly's wife, are always mixed up those two names. One was Tahira and one was Zuleika. And I felt sometimes embarrassed because I called Zuleika with Tahira and all mixed up. But Alhamdulillah, we came to know many people in the districts, and I hope, and I sincerely hope, that this would benefit the future generations and learn from the lessons that were left behind by their old people. This is a living heritage. And when they built this mosque, they formed the Kanamia Muslim League. And the man that gave me the cue was Ibrahim Muhammad. Is Mariam here? Shukran, my dear. At all odd hours, I used to come to her home to bother her husband. And he gave me a cue one day. There was an impasse lasting a year. There were two groups, the Kanamia Muslim Society and the Anjuman Muslim Society. They were at loggerheads because who wants to build a mosque? The Kanamia Muslim Association Society, led by Adam Pagadelli, Adam Ismail, Adam Ibrahim, Umar J. Ibrahim, Musa Ismail. And that is Umar, your grandfather. He came with two names. He also ran in big trouble. But let me just complete this. I'm flickering now from this side to that side. I think I'm going to end off now because I'm going to get confused here. The papers that they wrote, I'm at a loss. I ask your mouth. I'm going to end off here and say thank you to all of you for coming here, and buying the book is important because from the funds that we derive here will go back to this mosque here, and that is an appreciation on behalf of all the people, the Muslims in general, because when this mosque was opened, it was opened for the Muslims. And in 1913, if you want to see if your forefather was somebody, look at the constitution that was formed by this mosque in 1913. The names all appear there. And if you want to know what the founding fathers are in the book, I've copied from the archives, and I've got pictures in there with names. And you will see names signed in Gujarati, and below that in English how they try to write their names, because very few could read and write English. Ladies and gentlemen, shukran. I think my time is up. I hope you enjoy the afternoon. Shukran.
Shukran, Mr. Majid. Please, we cannot sell any books. We're not done yet. Please, Farida. There's still important things to happen now. Please, if we can sit down. Please, everyone. Shukran for your cooperation. I think what the important lessons that we can learn from the founding fathers was their dedication, their commitment, and despite the hard work, survival, they never forgot that they were Muslim. And the challenge that they had, we need to understand the Cape at that time, that for Hanafis, there wasn't a mosque. You were actually prevented from going to other mosques. It was so bad in Cape Town. That is why we had mosques with a title Shafi Mosque. It was only for those of the Shafi madhab. But, you know, we have changed, and this mosque and the forefathers and your grandfathers and great-grandfathers, may Allah grant them nur in their cupboard, inshallah, and reward them with Jannatul Firdaus, inshallah. I would like to welcome, there's some people that came late, Mr. Chotia, his wife Aldila, and I see these prominent educationists, I don't know who else was late. The Ibrahim family, Mr. Majid got a bit thrown off because there's a wealth of information. I used to sit with him for hours and he would relate to me these stories. So he wanted to condense and put everything into one 20 minutes. Mania, we understand also that you had the challenge. We also have the daughters of one of our ex-teachers at Muir Street, Mr. Vasamian, those of us who can remember him. We have Mariam and Rashida here as well. So all the way from Malmesbury. So welcome to everyone. Now we're going to start with the interesting part. Now there is 20 books and we've hired all the way from which village are you from? Morba. We've hired one of the best auctioneers and he's working, he's going to get 20%, okay, of the sawab that you will be getting if you buy the book. So please, if we think of Tajuddin, please raise the bar, because the 20% of the sawab will go to him, inshallah. There is 20 copies. That's gold embossed. Okay? It's beautiful. And this is a memento for all families to keep. So please, Tajuddin will now auction these books. And please help him along by raising your hand. Okay? Tajuddin, over to you, sir. The copies will be signed by the author as well. Don't worry, the mic, we ensured that, especially this time, will have power. Okay? So, you're not getting away with everything.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Let there be light, and there was light. Firstly, I got a call from Faisal Musa, and he says, Taj, I want you to do this for us. Thank you, thank you. And I want you to do it in this very special way. And there was no hesitation, because this call and my own personal memories of this masjid go back to my late father, his association with Sheikh Salih Abadi, my personal and our family links with the Tabligh Jamaat, with Musa, Wali and Mr. Basta and all those wonderful, Ismail Kara and so on and so forth. And so immediately I started getting nostalgic about this particular launch of this book. What I think is important before I start this auction, there are a few ground rules. What I want to say to everyone here today, as I was driving in, I live in Deep River, so it's all along the Newlands area, came in and I thought to myself that this is Heritage Weekend. And heritage speaks to a broad band of different things. It means differently to many people. Some would speak to it as culture, culinary, food, buildings, artifacts, etc., etc. And I was thinking, and I told an audience yesterday, I was at Vision Childcare Center, their 31st dhikr. And so there I was looking at these people, these young kids, as they were doing, the renditions and so on of the various adhkar. And I thought to myself, that's the legacy, that's the heritage. Where for more than 350 years, Tuan Guru came to these shores under very challenging circumstances. But what we as a community, and particularly in District 6, I have memories of samosas and the fish market, etc., etc. My parents used to bring us into Hanover Street and so on. But the District 6 community, of which this masjid was a focal point and remains a focal point, was the interconnectedness of people. District 6 brought an interconnectedness of humanity, which we, as the Muslim community and the non-Muslim community, found ourselves living together in a human tapestry, in a puzzle which made sense, where Maghrib time, whether your non-Muslim neighbors would say, get inside, it's time to go to the mosque. And so there was this tapestry of humanity which included faith. It included faith. You could think about Eid Day, where you had Muslims and non-Muslims coming to celebrate Labaran. I'm just giving you an odd, anecdote. But the history of District 6 will forever remain as a living example of the interconnectedness of our humanity in this part of the world. And so I fondly remember the Musa Isas of the world, the banana people and so on and so forth, as a young boy going with my father to the Epping market. And there were the valleys and there was the Musa Isa and so on and so forth. And of course the Rastas and all these wonderful, wonderful people whose legacy brings us into this august, auspicious space. For me, it's a privilege and an honor to be here, one which is deeply esteemed, and I thank the organizers, Professor and team for putting this together, congratulate the author, and I am sure that this book will go a long way in, as the author had spoken about, in bringing people together. We are too far apart. Our children are too far apart. Our families are far too far apart. And it's no use if we want to preserve this history, this illustrious history, then we need to become closer together. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, the following protocol shall prevail. There are 20 copies of this book. It is embossed. It will be signed by the author. And the proceeds of this book will go to the Zeenatul Masjid. So your donor rand goes directly as an Isa alayhi thawab for yourself and for those who you make an intention to. And make that intention. This is an opportunity of spiritual plowback when you are able to, through your own philanthropy, through your own altruism, through your own care, compassion, love, mercy, recognition of where you come from. Let that be. Don't think of the money. Think of its rewards. I'm going to start. We're going to do it in this particular way if Mr. Najjar agrees and the Professor agrees. We'll auction one copy. And then we'll take, I can't give and allow one person to take all the benefits. And so let's institute the institution of sharing. If you want to take one copy, allow others. There are only 20. And so this becomes a memoir in your home for those in the now and those in the future. So I'm going to open the bidding for 20 copies only. The opening bid is, no, don't listen. 500 rand. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to... Hang on, take it easy. You're overwhelming me, but it's fine, I love it. I've got 5. Now I'm going to start a roll that many of you are not familiar with. But please bear with me. Ladies and gentlemen, the opening bid. 500 rand by Professor Musa. The lady with the gold-studded spectacles. I've got 1,000 rand. Any further bidding on 1,000 rand? I've got 1,000 rand. I'm looking for 1,200 rand. Any further bidding on 1,200 rand is what I'm looking for. Who's going to give me 200 rand extra? The bidding was you at the moment. 1,200 rand I'm looking for. I've got 1,000. I'll take 1,100 rand. Any further bidding on 1,000 rand? No. Your bid, sir? 1, 2. 1, 2. I've got 1,200 rand. Lady, the bid. 1,500 rand. 1,500 rand. The bid is against you. The bid is against you. The bid is against Professor. I've got 1,500 rand. Do I see 1,600? I've got 1,500. Do I see 1,600? Any further bidding on 1,500 rand? Where's the lady with 1,500 rand? 1,500 is for you for the time being. Any further bidding on 1,500 rand? Are you all done? You can't be done. 1,600. 1,700. 1,800. No, 1,800, 1,900, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,100, 2,100, 2,100 I've got. Any further bidding on 2,100, 2,200? 2,200 is what I've got at the moment. Any further bidding on 2,200 rand? Do I see 2,300? I've got 2,300. Thank you very much. The bid is against you. I've got 2,400. Do I see 2,500? I've got 2,500. Thank you very much. 2,600. Thank you very much. 2,600, 2,700, 2,700. Yes, 2,700, 2,800, 2,800, 2,800, 2,900, 2,900. Any further bidding on 2,900? I've got 3,000 rand. 3,000 rand going for once. Are you all done at 3,000 rand? No. 3,000 rand I've got. I'm looking for 3,100 rand. Any further bidding on 3,100, 3,000 rand? I've got 3,100. 3,100. Anybody? 3,100. I've got 3. I'm looking for 3,100. Who's going to give me 3,100? 3,000. It's yours for the time being. I'm holding the bid for you. 3,000 rand. Going once. I've never seen so much silence in my life. Lord bless my soul in a teapot. 3,000 rand I've got going once. Any further bidding on 3,000 rand? I'll take 3,050 bucks. Look here, in Afrikaans I'd say, Shaitan of pluck. Now, I don't know what that terms, in Gujarati, I don't know, I only know Kem Cho Haruche, and that's the end of the story. So, But we can do an EFT. I've got 3 there. Who's going to give me 3,100 rand? 3,000. Young man, I have great admiration for you. You're a very determined bidder. 3,100 rand, the bid is against you, lady. I've got 3-1. Any further bidding on 3,100 rand going once? Are you all done at 3,100 rand? I've got 3-2. I'm sorry, do I see 3-3? I've got 3-3. Do I see 3-4? No, 3-3 this side. Any further bidding on 3,300 rand? The bid is yours, sir. 3,300 rand. Are you all done?
Done.
3,300 rand going once. 3,350. 3,300 going once. We have 20 copies only. 3,300 rand going twice. All done, Professor? Put your hands together. Can you stand up, sir? You're part of the history. Thank you so much. 3,300 rand. Once, twice, thrice. I've got 20 copies. Can I see 20 hands, please? 3,300 rand. Make your mark. 1, 2, 3. Personal, embossed. You ain't gonna get another opportunity to be part of history. 3. Once, twice, thrice. Okay, we'll have it. Okay, another one there. Thank you very much. Yes. And for those of you who don't want to put up your hands, it's also fine. But we only have 20 copies. And this is your contribution towards this masjid and your contribution towards the future and to ensure that we live on. When I say we, I mean everyone who was part and is part of this enormously beautiful community around the Mir Street Zeenatul Islam Masjid. 3,300 rand, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the corner already. Done? Prof is there. For those who want it, please come along this way. We can do an arrangement. Not pay off, please come on. There we are. Thank you very much, sir. And to young man, you're the first one I'm going to give this book to, and I'd like you to go just present yourself at the table because you've been the final bidder. The auction is now closed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure. That's yours. Thank you so very much. Round of applause, please, sir. All right. Okay. There are only 20 copies, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Someone just needs to pick up this box and take it to the altar. There we go. I think that's important. That's a big moment. A big moment. All right, Flat Mr. 28, thank you so much for having me here, and I'm not going to go home anytime soon. Here we are.
Thank you. We're not done yet. Please, we have a vote of thanks. Can we just, can I call upon Mr. Kamadin? Mr. Kamadin is one of the committee members, also a researcher of note. Please, can we afford Mr. Kamadin the opportunity to do the thanks? Thank you.
No, for my no. Walaikum salam. Yeah, I got my 300. Walaikum salam. Can I have everyone's attention? I will proceed. I've been tasked by the steering committee to give the vote of thanks. The vote of thanks will be in 4 categories. The first category is financial donations towards the catering for the book launch. And the following persons I would like to acknowledge on behalf of the steering committee. Number 1, Ms. Wasila Kapri, owner of the research consultancy Citizen Surveys. Number 2, the extended Umar family, and as our chairman have indicated earlier, the Umar family have supported this process by being here in person to come and collect their copies of almost 40 and more. Number 3, Naid Arnold. Number 4, Farhad Ali of Ali Otto from Port Elizabeth. Suwaiba Flowers and Yasmin Fasta. Second category.
They mustn't go, there's parcels to eat and tea.
Yeah.
People mustn't go.
Yeah. Our chairman have just reminded us the financial contributions towards the catering. There are going to be barakat takeaway boxes for each and every one that have graced this occasion. My second category is donations in kind for catering. And the following persons I wish to acknowledge: Sarina Fakir and Faisal Musa of Western Cape Stationers, and then Ghulam Faisal Ismail family of Gatesville. 3 again, Naid Arnold. And 4, Faisal Valley of Bargain Warehouse. 5, Abdul Aziz Wali. Number 6, Mr. Sheriff Parker for securing Jive Dreams. Number 7, Adam Vesta family from Eurochop. Number 8, Sharafa Padai from East and K Foods. And number 9, Compra Bakery. Third category, can I have everyone's attention once again? The last category, assistance to the book launch. Number 1, Mr. Najjar for being the MC, but he has indicated that he's the program manager for today, or program director. Then I also wish to acknowledge our guest speakers, Sheikh Kiran, Professor Musa, Mr. Majid, and his wife Atika, for availing their homes and providing hospitality for our meetings. Then also Imam Bilal Hamid, Salim Ninga, and Imam Zaid Fattar, who is here in our presence. Number 2, Abdul Wali. Number 3, Faisal Musa and Tajuddin Atlika for the auction. 4, the Muir Street Mosque Committee for making the boardroom available. as well as the hall, and members of the Masjid Committee, Yunus Ismail and Hussein Muhammad. Number 5, Rais Ismail, who made arrangements with the City Council for the cleaning up of the lawn surrounding the masjid. Number 6, members of the Lawns Committee listed in the book, including Mr. Riyad Najjar, and myself as one of the slave historians, Kami Kamadin. Number 7, ladies and the gents for the catering committee, amongst others, Samim Wali, Sarina Vasta, maiden name Fakir, Nahid Arnold, Yasmin Vasta, Rais Ismail, and Ismail Umar. They played a pivotal role to make sure that there are refreshments here today. Number 8, Saeed Adams, assisted by Nesmi Skruder, for providing the video screen and the recorder, as well as Ashraf Turi. They provide us with this visual support that we enjoyed this afternoon. If I can continue. We also would like to acknowledge Kelly Stein, who was the RSVP administrator, and Liakar Mohammed for facilitating the pre-orders and the books.
Just say that all the books are signed, right? They must just look inside
Yeah.
the book.
Then Professor Najma Musa reminded me that all the books are pre-signed, so you don't have to be concerned that your books are not autographed. The author have pre-printed autographs in each book that is about to be sold. Number 11, Ridwan Ismail of the Hifz Academy. 12, the printers we wish to thank, Razak Umar, Ashraf Jefter, and Jackie from ABC Press for excellent service and donating 20 gold embossed books for the auction. In terms of media, we wish to thank Anisa Isak of Radio Islam in Johannesburg, Sanaz Hamid Guhu of Radio 786, and Muhsin of the Roots program of Radio VOC. Number 14, the VVU office in the UK, the Baruchi Lahore community, for the letter of support. Number 15, Najwa Hendricks of the National Library and the staff. Then also Ibrahim Kenny of the Cape Town Archives in Rowland Street. Also our photographer, Mr. Sadiq van der Schijf. And in terms of the artist for the book cover, Samir Sakot. And last but not least, the editing of the book by Firoza Mala Isaacs, Namir Jardine, and Najma Musa. So to conclude, the editorial committee were, amongst others, these 3 editorial editors. Shukran.
Well done, Mr. Committee, despite all the noise. Now we're going to call, please, we're going to do our closing dua. And we must have silence. Only if you're not reciting. you can talk. Thank you, Farida and Izzy. We want to give honor, Sheikh. The Imam and the Street Mosque now. Let us afford him the respect and opportunity to close proceedings with the dua. Can we welcome Sheikh Zaid Fatah? Sheikh, please, Mama, dua Sheikh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم عبده ورسوله أما بعد. My fathers, my mothers, my brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I want to try to grab everybody's attention. I know once these things start, it's impossible to end. So something that really cracks the mood and grabs everybody's attention is takbir. So I want everybody in the loudest that they can do, those that are attentive, to repeat with me, inshallah. Takbir! 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 Alhamdulillah. I see I've got some people's attention now. Today is a historical moment, and I just want to say on behalf of the Imamate, the Honorable Trustees of Zeenatul Islam Masjid, all of the Musallis at Zeenatul Islam Masjid, to say Mubarak to the author, and we make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us all khair and barakah, Allah increases, Allah protects us, and Allah grants us all khair. Amin Rabbil Alameen. Al-Fatiha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. اللهم إنا نسألك أن تجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل اللهم فينا ولا بيننا شقيا ولا محروما. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم بارك في هذا المسجد وأهلها يا رب العالمين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. قال الله تعالى إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم بفضلك دعواهم فيها سبحانك اللهم وتحيتهم فيها سلام وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا.
Shukran, Sheikh. There is copies that we are golden boss copies to the sponsors. Capri is Ms. Capri here. Where's the list of names? The list of names. Abdullah Aziz Wali, Isi Umar, Mr. Majid also.
Yeah, he was given now. He said coming. You go down and say Where's the Ninga? Bilal? Is it gone?
Because people are buying goods, then they'll ask for signatures.
They can't, no more signatures. Just tell Uncle Fuad, you mustn't sign anymore. Okay, I'm gonna go with you now.
Tell him it's supposed to be done with the signature.
Sorry, man. You say, just help me get the stuff here, man. Just give me the notes here.
Are there any other special photos that you want to take?
I wanted to come back in because can you do me a favor? Can you tell Uncle Fuad he doesn't have to sign anything before he signs? He mustn't sign. He's never going to meet these people.
Well done.
Nice to see you. You buy a book.
Yeah, I must go.
Congratulations for your hard work.
Where did I get mine?
Oh, there, that table.
I want to tell you about my dad's memoirs. It was also intended to be a book.
Just give me 5 minutes, check. Okay. Abdul?
Bas,
I know who you are. Of course, I recognize that man, but I'm replacing. I'm so good, Mia.
you know, I said Gaya, Mia, Gaya, wait, I must take a photo.
Wait, I said to them, I must go, and of course, I must, there's 2 people I must say. You and Mr. Arnold.
Oh, Mr. Arnold, wait, I must take a photo. Easy maar, lovely, they thank you, in your, look at I love to see Mogi. Still again, you take it proud of it was so amazing. I spoke to
Say the mistake, come on. You were to tell me